Joined now by Dante Jackson, former Xavier player, now Xavier assistant coach. Dante, it's been a long road for you since you first started at Xavier. You wound your way from player to now being on the bench as an assistant coach. And first of all, I want to start off and say thanks for joining us. And how's everything going right now with you with all this going on?
Well, Paul, thanks for having me. Now, so far it's been good. It's been crazy. We've all had to adapt to a new way of life. But I think we've all been dealing with it pretty good. Just trying to keep our mental tight, getting outside, getting fresh air, staying out of the office if we can. But it's been good. It's been pretty good.
I don't want to dwell too long on the Corona subject, but I do want to start off asking one question about it. There was a great article in the Cincinnati Enquirer that Adam Baum wrote a couple of weeks ago about Trey Scotty, the director of video coordinator at Xavier, and what he does for you guys with cutting film and scouting and everything and recruiting right now with all of this going on. How have you guys had to adjust, and how much has it become normal now in the 2 months since all this has started?
Yeah, you know what? Like, Trey's done a really good job for us. I mean, he has, from day one. But I think over the past 2.5 months since this pandemic has really taken forward, we've been sending him, whether it's me, Ben, Jonas, or Trav, has sent him tons and tons of film. And his ability to kind of get it back to us pretty quick has been great. And so he's been invaluable from that standpoint, because obviously we can't go out off the road, and we can't go off campus and go recruiting. We can't see these kids in person. And so we're really relying on all the game film that we have. And so his ability to kind of get it cut and then, the work kind of starts for us, whether it's, watching the film, trying to get a really good evaluation on what the kid can do, what he can't do, where he maybe fits in our program with our roster. And so it has been unique, to say the least. And as you said, it's kind of become normal. We have our Zoom meetings, pretty much every day. Trav is, constantly in communication with all of us, based on kind of following up with the kids that he's seen. But it's certainly unique.
Yeah. So looking back on your Xavier career, you and I started talking about doing this about a month ago when we were watching the CBS Sports Network rebroadcast of the Kansas State game. And it was cool watching you interact with some of the fans and relive some of those memories from that game, which a lot of people, even though Xavier lost, consider to be one of the best games in Xavier's program's history. And as far as excitement goes, at least for you, looking back on it now, so many years later, what was it like rewatching that game for you? Have you watched it much, and to be able to talk through all that with everybody?
So that was the first and only time I've ever watched that game. I don't anticipate having to watch it ever again. Tom came and said that they're going to re-air it. Would you be willing to maybe do some live tweeting? And at first I thought, like, no, I don't want to ever watch that game. But honestly, watching it was really cool. I didn't realize how bad I played. I had like 5 or 6 turnovers, and it's like, hey, what are you doing out there? But the game was incredible. And then you kind of think back to the guys that we had on that floor wearing a Xavier uniform. Tu Holloway, Jordan Crawford, Jamel McLean, Mark Lyons, Kenny Freeze, Brad Redford, like some really talented players. And so it kind of, honestly, it fueled, my fire a little bit to kind of get us back to that level. We've gone a couple years here without, hearing our name called for the NCAA tournament. So it's one of those things that kind of, in the back of my head, we've got to get back to that level. And I think we're really, really close.
And you were able to go to you had a great career at Xavier as far as NCAA tournaments are concerned, and go to the Sweet 16 there. And when you look back at your Xavier career, what are some of the other memories that stick out to you in particular? Favorite game, a favorite memory like that?
Yeah, listen, I think number one, like, I had some incredible teammates, and they were obviously great players. You can go back to year one, Stanley Burrell, Drew Lavender, Josh Duncan, A-plus teammates. And then you can got C.J. Anderson and B.J. Raymond and so on and so on and so on. So, like, it's I think that's number one. And then number two, just being able to keep the streak alive. Jimmy Carter is still Live here in Cintas, I think, or in Cincinnati. That is something I will always remember. But then also just having the opportunity to ward up, every day in practice and every game with some incredible people that represented Xavier the right way. And so, I think about that. I talked to Josh just the other day for his birthday. Was texting with Tu the other day. Actually texted with Brad yesterday. So just staying connected with those guys, my teammates. I think I hold that kind of above all else.
So you go from there as a player to then being a grad assistant at Xavier, and then you're an assistant coach right across the river at Northern Kentucky, and then you're at Air Force, Robert Morris, and then you're real quick at Kent State before you make it back to Xavier. So what are some of the things that you learned along the way that have helped you now to be able to grow, through all those stints to get back here to Xavier?
Yeah, I think you maybe number one, you kind of have to be able to adapt. And I think the one thing that I've been fortunate and blessed to do is I've worked for multiple head coaches, and they all were different in a lot of ways. And so you're working for Dave Beazold, working for Dave Pilipovich, working for Andy Toole, and then a small cup of coffee for Rob Sinderoff. But they were all different. They were all unique. And then I think just being able to persevere, because if you remember, we were let go after my first year at Northern Kentucky, and so kind of navigating the landscape of college basketball, being outside of college basketball. And so I think persevering and then being able to adapt. And then I think you kind of lose sight, and maybe you don't understand, especially your first job or two, how hard you have to work just for one win, or how hard you have to work just to get one commitment. And so I think as I've kind of progressed in each stop, it's been more apparent to me just how hard you have to work, and the things that you have to do in order to get where you ultimately want to go. And so hopefully I can kind of put all that together, and we can get Xavier to the mountaintop.
Yeah. And one of the memories that I think sticks out to a lot of people of you and your career maybe is that picture of you holding the Xavier flag, running around the court. Take us through that picture and grabbing that flag and what that was.
Yeah. So that was 2009-10. We had just beaten Pittsburgh to go to the Sweet 16. We were in Milwaukee, and I was the type of player that took pretty much everything personal. And Pittsburgh, we had played them the year before out in Boston in the Sweet 16 with a trip to the Elite Eight on the line. We were up 8 points at halftime. We were absolutely dominating the game. Flip it, Levance Fields hits a big-time three down the stretch. They end up beating us 60-55. And then you fast forward the next year, we're actually playing Pittsburgh in the second round in Milwaukee. And again, I took it personal that they had beaten us the year prior, and it was just kind of like my emotions got the most of me, or got the best of me at the end of the game. And I remember our crowd was incredible. We played Minnesota game 1, and we played Pittsburgh game 2. They were absolutely incredible. And so, it was just, I saw the flag. I was so excited. I picked it up, and honestly, it's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah. What's it like for you? And you talk about the crowd at a game like that. You look at the crowd that was down in Charleston this year or last year that traveled to Maui. Xavier takes a very raucous crowd wherever they go, whatever tournament or whatever game they may be in, or even if you go up the road to Hinkle Fieldhouse, wherever it is, Xavier seems to travel loud. What's it like for you being on the bench and hearing that, whether as a player or now as a coach?
God, honestly, as a coach, it takes me back to my playing days. It's incredible. I think our fans, Xavier Nation, is the best out there. And I think they stick with us during the good and the bad. But, honestly, being on the road, having an opportunity to get a road kill, and then you hear, let's go X, let's go X. Like, it just kind of gives you goosebumps because, again, it's really hard. It's really hard to win on the road. But we go to DePaul, we go to Butler, and when we go to Nova, when we go to Seton Hall or any of these places, or Charleston, as you mentioned, it's a home game for us. And the fact that our fans travel as well as they do I think obviously we're so appreciative of that, and I don't think they understand maybe how big of an impact they make on us and our guys. Just giving them the extra confidence and the boost and the energy to go out there and make the plays that they make.
Yeah. And it shows the investment that I think you have in the program, and that picture, it really embodies what you feel like this program means to you. But now to be able to coach and recruit for Xavier, it's got to bring an extra edge, right? When you're recruiting for your alma mater and you're coaching. And, I don't know does it fire you up every day even more that you're putting on that X and you're saying, I want this program that I was a part of now that I'm coaching for to be as best as it can be?
Yeah, I think, for me, it's Xavier gave me an opportunity to get a great degree, get a great master's degree, be around fantastic people that, quite honestly, otherwise a guy like myself coming from, small town Greenfield, Ohio, might not have gotten that opportunity. And so I'm so appreciative of that opportunity. So for me, it's, anytime I get a chance to represent Xavier and sell Xavier, the brand, our program, our campus, our institution, it's an honor. And so, when I get to talk to parents and I get to talk to kids, for me, I tell them my story. I tell them what Xavier has meant to me and what Xavier's done for me. And it's genuine and it's direct and it's honest. And it's real. And, I think, and I speak for Ben and Jonas as well. I think there's, even though they're not alumni of Xavier, they love this place and they believe in what we can do, not just from a basketball standpoint, but from an academic standpoint with our guys. And so to work with those guys and be able to sell such a great product is such a blessing for me.
You take a holistic approach to recruiting where all of you will go and talk to a recruit, right? And how is that different maybe from some other coaching staffs that will send one coach and send another coach and maybe the head coach closes the deal or however that works?
Yeah, you know what? Like this is the only staff I've been a part of where it's a team. Like we tag team our recruits. And there have been other places that I've been where it's been super, super competitive and super, super, contentious almost when it comes to recruiting because it's, I want my guy over your guy simply because it's my guy. For Coach Steele to have the vision of our staff and our program and what we want it to look like. And then I think that's one thing. And then him to be able to lead us as his staff. And this is how we're going to do it because this is what will win at Xavier is incredible. So, for us, it's easy because we're all bought in and we all respect and love Xavier. We all believe that Xavier sooner rather than later, I hope, is going to break through and get to that Final Four. And it's all about relationships. I think that's the thing that, makes Xavier a little bit different than a lot of places is that like we value the relationships. And we value the ability to not only coach our guys, but mentor our guys. And so, I think our situation, our dynamic and how we recruit is, again, it's unique. But it also wins because it's not about, for us, it's not about whose guy it is because at the end of the day, we're all going to coach them. We're all going to mentor them. We're all going to push them. We're all going to kind of hold them accountable. So for us, at the end of the day, are they Xavier guys? And if they're Xavier guys, we will all buy into getting them to Xavier.
What is a Xavier guy? What is that brand that you want to represent when you go and talk to a family?
Honestly, that's a great question. So I think number one, it's a young man that values competition. It's a young man that values development. It's a young man that wants to win. It's a young man that is coachable, but also understands that it's bigger than them. And, Coach Steele says this, and he's absolutely right. Xavier wasn't built on one coach. It wasn't built on one player. it has been a multitude of players and coaches that has helped us get to where we are today. And if we're wanting to take that next step, we need guys that buy into that. Like it's me over we, and I think it's those are some things that like we always look for. If a guy is selfish on the floor, if a guy rolls his eyes at his mom, if this guy kind of like smacks his lips and like things like that, like we try to steer away from that, because at the end of the day, trying to do what we're trying to do, which is get to the Final Four, win the Big East championship, and be a consistent fixture at that level. It takes a different type of personality, if you will.
Yeah. So you guys really emphasize that high IQ player, and you want guys that are going to gel and be cohesive as a team. And that might seem, at least, I don't know, on the surface, that might seem self-explanatory, like you want guys that are going to work well as a team. But I think in collegiate recruiting, sometimes that might go undervalued as coaches that might just want to go out and get the best athlete. Yeah,
listen, talent's going to get you there. And for us, talent will get us there. But, do you have the the backbone? Do you have the makeup of a winner? Do you know what it takes to win? Do you have the makeup, and have you ever sacrificed to win? And so I think and I probably should have said this before. Like that's probably another trait that we look for. Like, did you win? Because winning is really, really hard. And again, to win at the level that we are trying to win, it takes a special breed. Like it really, really does. And I think the blueprint is out there with several programs that we, in a lot of ways, are trying to emulate. And so, obviously being in a high IQ, basketball at this stage, at this time, whether it's college or NBA, it's positionless. So are you versatile? Again, it kind of goes back to the sacrifice piece. Are you willing to play a different position that you played in high school or AAU to benefit your team winning? And so it's kind of little things like that. Just we hold dear and make sure it's a priority for us.
One last question on recruiting for you. How much do you rely on relationships that past Xavier players might have, that they might be able to further the brand and say like, hey, this is a good place to play? Like, do you put them in contact with some of the old guys?
Yeah, you know what? Like, we try to, but obviously per NCAA rules, there are some limitations for us to be able to do that. Now, I will tell you this. We've had a lot of success. For instance, whether it's two, and two's actually helped us here recently with a couple kids from his area that he's known, that he's been able to kind of cultivate a relationship for us. And then I think, relationships at the end of the day for recruiting is the name of the game. Like, can you build and cultivate a relationship with an individual or individuals to kind of better your situation? And so, if there weren't for the NCAA rules, I'm telling you, we would have two, and Edmund and JP and Stanley and Josh Duncan and all those guys, Dave West and everyone, helping us. But because of the limitations, we don't do it as often, and we're not able to do it as often as we'd like.
Yeah. So now looking at where you guys are right now and the program and where you want to be moving forward, you've touched on it a couple of times, and Xavier wants to be in that Final Four. Xavier wants to make it, as Coach Steele said, to that top 2%. But what for you as a coaching staff now, after the last couple of seasons, are you looking for to really push yourselves over that?
Yeah, I think for us, it's being who we are, doing what we do. We had a really good 19 class. We have a very, very good 2020 class. We have to be able to stack classes back to back to back and build our depth through talented, culture, improving young men. And we're really, really close. Again, we've got 2 classes under our belt. We're on the right kids in 2021. We got to get a couple of them to say yes. But I think it's a matter of us continuing to do the job on the recruiting trail. But then if I flip it and I kind of talk about what we have to do in the immediate, we got to continue to make our guys better. We have to continue to value the guys that are already in our program. We have to get them from where they were individually, and we have to kind of improve them through skill development, film, and all that stuff. And then we have to kind of get our team to continue to improve. Obviously, winning cures everything, and so I think when we start to win very, very soon, things will kind of fall into place. But I think it's making our current guys better, getting those guys better, and also continuing to hammer the recruiting trail and bring in student athletes that fit Xavier.
Yeah. And one last question about your Xavier career. When you look back at your career, and you mentioned some of your favorite memories and things like that, but one of the common themes that I've asked everybody about in these interviews is the Crosstown Shootout. And what are some of your memories from the shootout and how valuable that game is to the city of Cincinnati?
Man, you know what? God, I think that's I'm biased, of course. I think that's the best basketball rivalry in college basketball. I think the proximity, and I don't know if I should say it this way, but maybe the hatred that kind of exists is it's real and it's legit. But I remember, I think it was 2008, 2009, where there were 17 technical fouls almost. I think Derek Brown got tossed. Just the competitiveness, the toughness, the hatred, because we were in fifth third at the time. And then almost the relief when the buzzer goes off and you win. And the joy, because it is a big time game. It's a game that means a lot. When it's not just the 2.5 mile radius between us, it's really all over the state. So for me, that is the game.
Yeah. Well, Coach Jackson, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk today, and I'm sure you got more recruits to FaceTime and everything in between, so I'll let you get back to it. But thanks for sitting down and taking the time to talk.
Paul, I appreciate you.
Thanks.